Hopefully that'll go.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, they know now.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's now 7 p.m. and this is a regular meeting of the Kaneland Board of Education. I would like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. And Mr. McCauley, the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a roll call, please.
Please forgive me. Mr. Kleisner.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons is absent. Mr. Cook.
Here.
Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Dr. Lawler.
Here.
Mr. Stalcup.
Here.
And Mr. Mankivsky.
Here. With 6 members present, we have a quorum. Is there anything the board would like to move from consent to new business? Hearing,
Hold on, Bob, I think we need
Pro tem.
a elect her as secretary pro tem.
Okay,
We didn't know
yeah.
Julie was gonna be out when we did that, sorry.
we need to elect a secretary pro tem since Ms. Orfel is not here this evening. I would nominate Jackie Bogan.
Second.
Fourth.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted. Jackie Bogan is our secretary pro tem for the evening. Is there anything that the board would like to move from consent to new business? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalcup.
Aye.
And Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. The agenda is approved. It is now time for board/superintendent supports. I will turn it over to Dr. Rowling.
Yeah, so we started with staff today, kicking off a new school year, so I just wanna take a moment to salute all the people that worked over the summer, our maintenance staff, our business staff, all of our central office staff, the building principals and the building principal secretaries, tech. Who am I missing?
Bus driver.
Bus drivers, and our, this year, our construction partners that all worked really hard to get the year started. We will open with students on Wednesday, and we're very excited to have everyone back.
Dr. Bogan?
Nothing this evening.
Board members? All right. The board appreciates everyone in attendance this evening and invites you to stay as we move into the new business portion of the meeting. We understand that not everyone is able to stay for the entire meeting, and we want to make sure you know that this is an open meeting, so you are able to come and go as you need. And we look forward to seeing you at future meetings. Tonight's consent agenda contains the following information. One, approval of the treasurer's report for July 2026. Approval of the meeting minutes from the July 21st, 2026 special meeting and the July 28th, 2026 regular meeting.
July 20th.
Yeah. We got different dates.
20, yeah.
Oh, I don't know, here.
Approval of the meeting, approval of the treasurer's report for July 2026. Approval of the meeting minutes from the July 13th 2026 special meeting and the July 20th, 2026 regular meeting. Approval of personnel. Approval of destruction of audio recordings from closed session meetings from February 2025. And approval of motion not to release closed session minutes from January through June 2026. And the informational item, Freedom of Information Act report. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent items listed.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Dr. Lawler?
Aye.
Mr. Stalcup?
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky?
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner?
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. The consent agenda is approved. Public comments. We use the public comment section as an opportunity to listen to our stakeholders. The board does not debate or engage in conversation during this time. I'd like to remind everyone to state your name and village of residence for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Public comment is a maximum of 30 minutes with a 20-minute total length of time for any one subject. Those who speak are asked to maintain a tone of courtesy and civility. And we have one person signed up, Maggie. That helped me out. Levy, thank you.
I'm gonna wait until after I hear the new athlete code of conduct.
Second public comment.
Oh, so you
There's
want,
a second session at the end of the meeting.
Okay, yeah.
oh, okay, so you defer, okay. All right, the first item of new business, we move on to new business then, there were no committees meeting this week. The first item of new business is the community solar discussion. Dr. Bogan, if you could please provide more information.
I think we have the one notes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think somebody.
Pulled the one up online. There were two agendas.
All right, hold on, Bill. Here. Should have.
Okay, Kaneland 302 mobile app and app chat board presentation. Mr. Chavez, if you'd be so kind.
All right, good evening, board members and community. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation tonight. I do want to start out with a big shout out to our IT team, Director of IT, Tim Wolf, and also his staff who have been helping get the ball rolling when it comes to this new Kaneland mobile app and two-way chat. Jen Hodak from the communications department as well, who is retiring later this year after over 20 years of service, has been also heavily involved in this. Hillary Sweat has been helping with transferring data from Infinite Campus over to our new app system, so that way all the class rosters are ready to go. And also had some help from additional team members in the IT department, such as Mike Chavez, no relation, but helped us out with some of the visual feedback on the actual app to make it look better. And also Rick White was also involved in the beginning as well. So wanted to make sure I called that out. The first thing I want to get into here is some survey information. Actually, as Dr. Rollwing was mentioning today that he gave a speech to all staff, one of the things he mentioned is that he's a survey nerd. That's self-proclaimed there, folks. I wouldn't never thought I'd hear him say that. But I think it's super important as well to get that survey feedback. That's really going to help us evolve. And you always hear me say that one of the most important things is to actually take action and implement that feedback in some way. So some of the pain points that we've been hearing about so far has been that there's been a little bit of fatigue when it comes to checking different apps. And we've talked about this a little bit before. It's been a little bit of the wild, wild west when it comes to parent-teacher communication. It could be done through email. It's been done through just various kind of free apps such as Class Dojo, Remind, and whatever else is out there, and even some social media type stuff. So the other thing that we've heard as well is just really missing some critical information every now and again, because it's not all in one place I find. Having to look at those different sources as well to sometimes piece together some information. And then just kind of those inconsistent two-way channels there of it just not being kind of just aligned across the board there. So one thing that we're trying to do is take that feedback and implement it there, as I mentioned, and that's really providing effective communication and really also trying to align with that strategic plan that has recently been established as well. Goal there is also operational efficiency, so really just streamlining our systems anytime that we can. So looking to get away from having one app for this and one app for that, and just trying to bring everything under one umbrella, in terms of, at least doing that as much as we possibly can. And then really community engagement, making sure that we're really meeting our community where they're at, especially when it comes to any folks that are bilingual, speak different languages, those type of things. And we'll talk a little bit more about how this app is going to help basically connect with those community members as well. All right, so basically the app, as you can see in this image here, is going to be the white one, the white background there, that's called Kaneland 302. You'll see the other one right next to that, which is the KHS Nights app, and that one is specific to the high school sports, and it's been around for a little while. So that is how we'll distinguish between the two apps. Kaneland 302 is not quite available, not yet available in the App Store. We've submitted everything that we need to. We kind of feel like maybe Apple's kind of dragging their feet on kind of approving everything, but we expect that to happen in the next few days. And with this app, it's really going to be kind of the digital front door as well. It's going to really kind of mirror our website. A lot of the information that's on the website will be on the app as well, but some additional benefits as well. Some of those additional benefits are really that push notifications. So just like any other app where you're notified of something, this app will have that option for folks, and it's an option for them to turn on or off, and they can choose what type of alerts they want to receive. So those could be related to any kind of new news events, or also just those emergency alerts as well. They can also personalize their news feed, so they'll be able to select which schools they want to receive news from and the type of information that they want to receive. We'll have the events and calendars integrated into this as well, so just easy to find those events and kind of stay tuned to what's going on in the district. We'll also have that one-touch staff directory, which we're working on at the moment. Right now, that's a little bit under construction when it comes to the staff directory on our website and the app, as we're transferring all this data over and fixing a few things in the background to make sure everything's aligned. And then really just those quick resource links. So if a parent needs to jump into Infinite Campus real quick and check grades, check bus routes, that's going to be just a quick one touch to get into that, get signed in, and check that information. Next up, we have the key parent features. So these will be the highlights and probably the most used features within this app. But really just that district two-way messaging that we've been talking about. Really, this is going to be for teachers, principals, and coaches, advisors, also extracurricular, to essentially be able to communicate with students and staff in a chat environment versus having those kind of email chains and different apps that are being used and those type of things. One of the great things is you can also share photos and files in this app. So if there's a flyer for a PTO event, a teacher can easily post that for the parents in this environment, and so they can see all that. Automatic translation. So this is going to be a big one here. This will basically allow for parents to send that message in their own language and for teachers to receive it in English and vice versa. So I think that's a big win for the district, as there are quite a few different languages across the district. Really having that centralized message center. So again, just going to one spot. So you may have a parent may have students in multiple schools, whether that's Harder and John Shields and one at the high school. The great thing about this is their chats will have their students' teachers, and all those chats will be in that one section. So they can easily go back and see what somebody said. The history will be there, and everything's all in that one spot, instead of, again, having those multiple apps where one teacher might be using Remind, another teacher might be using email to communicate, and then your conversations are kind of all over the place. This will have those class and group channels. So the great thing about this is going back to transferring that data from Infinite Campus over to Final Site. This allows those class rosters to be created automatically. So parents won't need to go in there and search for their teacher, and teachers won't need to go in there and start adding every student or anything like that. Everything's already in there and ready to go once we get this launched. And then really just also too, so yeah, that's the main thing there, but then privacy and security, really just making sure that everything's compliant, secure, all in this interface, and everything is not scattered around. All right, and then we have some just kind of call out and some features for the safety and also the staff safeguards there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that now. One of the main things is just having those work-life boundaries. So great thing about this is staff can set quiet hours. So essentially, let's say they work from 8 to 4. That'll be when their app will receive notifications, when they'll get alerted that a parent has messaged them. But then outside of those hours, weekends, things like that, they can have it set to those quiet hours, and they will not receive any notifications or alerts until the following business day.
Does that mean that parents can't write them responses at those times, or that they just won't get the notification?
Exactly. So the message will still come through
Okay.
from the parent to the staff member, but the staff member won't get that push notification or alert like you would with a brand new text message or
Okay.
something on your home screen.
And teachers would they be required to have those notifications on during the school day?
Well, in terms of notifications and the quiet hours, we were kind of looking to maybe put that control in the hands of staff, because I've also heard
Yep.
some staff members say, well, I do like to see those notifications or be notified that I did get a message at 6 o'clock in the evening so I can start forming my answer and think about it overnight or those type of things as well. So we expect that to be more in the control of the staff depending on their preference and what they prefer.
Okay, sounds good.
And then another call out about that is just installing the app on their personal phone is absolutely not required, it's optional. So the big point there is that there's a desktop browser version of this. So they can easily pull up the browser, the desktop version on their browser, on their work computer there, and manage everything from there. So it was kind of touched on there, that message will be queued essentially. It'll be in their inbox there, but then they might not receive that notification. And then we'd be looking into auto responses as well, just to let folks know, like, hey, we received your message. You'll get a reply within this time frame. And then really just that staff wellness piece again, just preventing any kind of burnout, any kind of those situations there where maybe they feel overwhelmed or bombarded by these parent messages. So that's another benefit of the quiet hours and making sure that they're responding during their normal work hours. Next thing there is just that legal compliance and archiving piece. I know we talk a lot about FOIA and making sure that all those things are compliant. So really this is going to ensure that every message, every photo, every flyer that was sent is going to be archived, and we'll be able to retrieve that in the event that there's a concern in the future. So there's no more he said, she said, or having to dig through dozens of email chains or anything like that. Again, consolidating everything into one section, so we hope that will also save time for staff members that need to find those interactions.
Will there be a directory for those interactions? You know, in a lot of cases, there are directories available so that you can punch in and pull up whatever you need. You know, like within certain parameters. Is that available on this?
Yeah, we'll have like a dashboard basically for admin, and then within that dashboard, admin will be able to search and identify those conversations. So it'll have some different tools and all that in terms of finding and kind of locating those, the information they need basically.
So a traditional search
Yes.
as
and-
opposed to a directory.
Yeah, search, as well as just different columns with information, finding it based on the teacher name, the parent name, those type of things. All right, and then, yeah, like I said, just protecting staff and families as well. I think this is important to protect staff. They'll, again, be able to see the history of the conversation, and again, if anything ever arises, we'll be able to retrieve that interaction and review it and make sure that everything's accurate. We already talked. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah.
if you don't know, that's okay. Are we foreseeing that there will be an uptick in conversations between parents and teachers because of the app, right? Because I might be more reluctant to email, I'm definitely more reluctant to call, right? But if I can just like send you a message and blast you on the thing, I might be more eager to do that, right? So do you think there might be an uptick to how much staff have to communicate back and forth with parents?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think anytime you remove those barriers, any kind of barrier there makes it easier for those parent teachers to communicate with each other, like you said, not having to sit there and type up an email, find the email address or something like that. So I think anytime you're removing barriers, you might see an increase or an uptick. To be honest, we haven't really kind of dug into that too much in terms of predictions for that. We'll definitely be monitoring usage of this app through that dashboard, as I mentioned earlier, identifying any pain points for staff. This will be a continuous feedback loop of identifying what's working, what's not working, and if they do feel like, hey, it's a little bit more of an uptick in messages, a little overwhelming, we can maybe look at what other tools are available in this app to help with that. But also vice versa, we might have an issue with some adoption, some folks not really wanting to install the app and start to use it, so trying to encourage them to do so as well. So we'll kind of see how that plays out in terms of if it's more folks not wanting to adopt it versus overuse. So
I mean, it would be a good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
To have increased communication, that's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But I could see it also becoming maybe a heavy lift for staff at some point, so we might need to think about strategizing with that.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. Like I said, but just increasing that communication, I think, will be good initially. But again, we also don't want to overwhelm or anything like
Right.
that either. So we'll definitely monitor that and report back to you.
Great.
Question.
Sure.
Is this just going to be a parent portal, or will students be able to access this as well?
Good question. So initially, in the initial launch, it would be access to high school students, mostly for the sports and extracurricular activities. But then going forward, we'll kind of see if it makes sense to open the chat feature up to middle school students to be able to interact with their teachers. And we don't really foresee elementary, but we'll see again how that goes. But mainly high school students, and with this initial launch, will have access to the chat feature to interact with coaches, extracurricular, anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. All right, and we talked about the two-way translation already, so again, that's just a big win. We have that listed for both parents and staff because we think that's a super important feature for both. And then also just really that privacy. So really what we can do is ensure that just everything's secure and private. These days, we're always looking to protect student data, student information, any kind of information really when it comes to our system. So this will be another way that we can ensure that everything's fully secure within this platform and that only the people that should have access to that conversation have access to it. All right, in terms of the timeline, where we're at now, again, with the help of Tim's team, we've been essentially integrating the data. We've been testing the app behind the scenes, providing feedback on what the app looks like, and then putting in requests to make it better. So that's what we're doing right now in the background. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll start with our staff training. We've already started that with the admin. So the admin have all had the training in terms of how to use that dashboard, essentially how to add and create chat rooms for some other staff members who may not have a Kaneland email address. That's another great feature about this. If you don't, maybe you're a coach and you don't have a Kaneland email, or you might, or either way, you're not a staff member, we can still integrate you into the system and make sure that you have access to chat. So essentially, admin has been trained on that. We've sent out some resources. Next step is that staff training piece. We'll be doing some live webinars with Final Site, who is our partner in getting this done. And then also I'll be going out to the high school and middle school as well to do some hands-on training with those staff members, and then also doing office hours. So visiting a school, setting up in the break room, libraries, those type of things, and sitting there for a few hours and giving staff the opportunity to come by, ask questions. We can troubleshoot any issues they're having, those type of things. So that'll be happening in the next couple weeks. Really right now, again, we're looking to finalize the data integration, creating those rosters for everybody, and then launching the app in the App Store. So our partners at Final Site are working hard on that, and we hope to have that done in the next several days. We'll see how that plays out, and I'll keep you guys up to date. Then in late August, so the goal there is to have the staff be able to get familiar with the app a little bit, definitely go through the training, as I mentioned. And then we're looking to essentially turn on that chat feature, which I'll show you a little bit. I'll show you some examples of what that's going to look like here in a few minutes. In early September is when we would flip the switch on the chat feature. So that's the plan right there. And then really in the fall, I know, like, you know, for example, some athletic teams had to get going, obviously, and start interacting with their students during the summer as soon as we hit school. So in fall, the goal will be to essentially move everybody away from any of these third-party apps that have been used over the years and into this ecosystem once the training is complete. All right, next we'll be talking about just providing a guide for our staff to make sure they're using the right tool for the right task. We've had a lot of questions about, well, is Gmail going away? How am I going to use email versus using this and those type of things? So we've created a guide just to make sure that we're all on the same page with the systems that we'll continue to use. I mean, really nothing's going away. This is just, we're kind of replacing the emails and all the different apps and just centralizing it. But everything else pretty much stays the same. So the refocus for Gmail will just be kind of that peer-to-peer interaction, interacting with community partners, any kind of legal compliance emails such as a 504 meeting or IEP meetings, those type of things will still go through email. And then when it comes to Canvas, that's kind of the learning management system. That's not going away. That's still going to be for those assignments and kind of leaving comments and those type of things on those assignments and really just focus on that particular task. Infinite Campus is our student information system that houses grades and a bunch of other information, bus routes, those type of things. So again, that's not going away. That'll still also be our mass notification system. So if there's a snow day, we're still going to do that phone call, text message, and email that will come out through Infinite Campus. And that'll be our mass notification system. The reason for that is it'd be additional cost to have that into Final Site app, and it's really just redundant at that point. We can still utilize Infinite Campus for those mass notifications. So really, this tool is going to be used for really just those kind of parent, teacher, student interactions when it comes to daily classrooms, parent announcements, athletic teams, and extracurriculars. So just really improving and, again, consolidating that communication into one place. So as we touched on here, again, trying to move away from any of these third-party apps that are unapproved just because they don't really have the proper security, privacy, or FOIA archiving that we're going to get through this particular app. But again, it hasn't launched yet, so once we do launch it, once everybody's trained, that'll be the expectation to start eliminating these other third-party apps. And as part of that, using the right tool for the right task, there's going to be just some staff guidance there on kind of what's the etiquette in terms of response times. So typically if you receive an email in the business world, it's kind of that 24 to 48 hours response time is kind of what most people go by. Of course, that wouldn't be including evenings or weekends or anything, so it's the next business day when they would typically send out that response. And then for the Final Site chat app here, we're looking at 24 hours, one business day, but again, if they're on a weekend or something, that response would come through on Monday or the following business day that they're actually there. So just trying to set forth those expectations and make sure everybody's on the same page with how to use the tools that we have and what those response times are. All right, next, let's see if I can get this going here. But I'm gonna do a quick demo because I can, talk about it all night, but to really get the visual on it and see what it actually does would be a great opportunity at this point. It's a quick video, minute and 30 seconds. Everything moves fast, but it'll kind of show you like where the chat lives and those type of things and what buttons are available. It's just music. So I'll kind of pause here a little bit just to show everybody what's going on. So as you can see, you can select your language. You can select your schools. And then here's your notifications for which school list you want to be notified about. You'll see at the bottom, you have home, chat, where all your chats will live, news, events, and more. So it's a pretty simple platform. And then here's your notifications for which school list you want to be notified about. You'll see at the bottom, you have home, chat, where all your chats will live, news, events, and more. So it's pretty simple platform. And then here's your notifications for which school list you want to be notified about. So it's a pretty simple platform. All right, so that's pretty much what I had for that presentation. Are there any additional questions or concerns about this?
When do we really think it's gonna be live for parents?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really hard to say exactly. I know from our end, we provided all the information to Final Site. They're kind of doing some stuff in the background. It's been sent to the Apple App Store for approval. In terms of when it's ready for parents, in terms of that browser version that I was talking about earlier, where you can just pull it up on your web browser, that's gonna be, it's pretty much ready to go now. But we wanna make sure that we get our staff trained first on it, and make sure that they're comfortable with it. And then from there, it really would be September 1st is what we're aiming when it comes to making it live for parents.
And it'll be available through Google Store as well, right?
Exactly correct, yep. The Android Google Store as well will have that available, the Apple App Store, and then again, that browser version if somebody just does not want to install that app onto their phone.
So, once it launches, everything's live, parents that continue to email regularly, I'm assuming the teachers are gonna be directed to redirect them back to the app at that point?
That'll be the goal, definitely a lot of promotion on my end to make
Yeah.
sure that everybody's fully aware of it, putting that in the newsletter, social media, direct emails to parents, looking at the dashboard to see where the low usage is, those type of things.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the goal would be to start guiding people and those gentle nudges towards adopting the app. But that's always a tough one when it comes to a big change like this, is getting everybody on board right away. So I'm expecting a little bit of time to kind of get everybody on deck on this. But yes, that would be the goal, to kind of persuade people to
Will
use
you
it.
be able to see from a high view of what teachers are and aren't using it, just to kind of see what kind of traffic is going for each teacher, just to make sure they're still not using, you know, Teams or Instagram or whatever, some of these one-offs that we heard of?
Oh, no.
So, is there a way for you guys to kind of manage that, to see who's doing it, who's not?
Yes, yes,
You
so
know,
through the
getting with the
dashboard, through
program.
the admin will be able to see their staff's chat rooms and those
Okay.
type of things to make sure it's being utilized. And yes, if you see a chat room that's just completely blank, then we might need to have a conversation.
I mean, changes change, right?
Yeah,
Everybody-
change is
no matter
always
what's
tough,
different,
it's gonna
so.
be a bit of an adoption, and I
Yeah.
get that. So
Yep.
the goal will be to hopefully also show the ease of use and
Yeah.
show how great this app is, to really consolidate all those conversations into one place and really just improve the communication and also just the ease of use for staff and parents as well. So
100%.
huge benefits here, I think, to this that hopefully will help drive that adoption.
Is the calendar gonna have sort options, like if I wanna go see a PTO at Shields versus a football game at the high school versus, you know, something at the middle school? Is there gonna be a way to search or filter in the calendar?
Yes, so it'll have some filtering options there. Kind of going back to, I think that video went so quick, it's hard to see, but there are some, definitely some customizable options in there when it comes to picking the schools that you want to receive information from. But also, yes, once you get into the calendars, you'll have some options to customize and select the ones that you want to be linked to, and focus on those.
Cool.
Just want to say, one of our goals of the board has been for at least the last couple of years, is to increase communication with our parents and streamline that communication. So I just, I'm very excited about this project. I'm glad that we're doing this because I think we're addressing that goal that we've been talking about.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you for your leadership on that.
Yeah, happy to help. All right.
Any other questions? All right, there's no action required for the presentation on the app and chat board presentation. Number 2 on new business tonight, approval of a 1.0 full-time equivalent second grade teacher at Kaneland McDowell Elementary. And Dr. Atkins.
Thank you. So as the board knows, we make initial projections in March, and then there's always variance. We monitor our running enrollment on a weekly basis from the week after the minimum staffing plan's presented until now. So I want to thank our 12-month secretaries at all the buildings for making sure that they update that every Thursday for us to review. And then we're here tonight because at McDowell Elementary, our second grade received a significant number of additional students. We are now pushing classes of 24, 25, and 25 at second grade. Our suggested enrollment figure through the KEA contract is 22-1. We're well over. The average at our other 3 schools is 21-1 in second grade. If you look back, we have always historically tried to keep our K-2 sections low for the purpose of helping our students learn language and learn all the skills they need to be successful in school. And 24, 25, 25 is not a healthy class size number. We've also historically looked at those recommended class sizes from our handbook with the association in kind of a +2 perspective. So at 22-1 for K-2 classrooms, 23, 24, maybe here and there we can look at, but once we get to where we're over 24 in all sections, we got to do something. So we've made provision to acquire an additional staff member pending board approval tonight. It will bring those class sizes in that grade a little bit lower than the district average, but well within the tolerance for what we have across the district at K2. And I can't in good faith ask our staff to start second grade with 25 students in a classroom. So, questions?
Will this spot be filled by a long-term sub until?
No.
No.
We've made provision pending board approval tonight. We have a Kaneland grad ready to take the job.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Well, how do you shuffle the classes though?
So all of our elementary principals can tell you that every year we look at these numbers and I kind of identify ahead of time, like this one's close. So they have master schedule A, master schedule B, master schedule C, D, E, or if you ask Courtney Ward, millions. We also have extra classrooms. Every year, every building, we have provisions to add a section.
I was just thinking of like open houses tonight, right? So I went to my open.
Yep.
So you're gonna put different.
We're using that phrase pending board approval, but of course the timing of this and such is one that the class lists have been done and those
so
kinds of
sorry.
things.
That's what I wanted to hear actually.
Okay. Pending board approval.
Yeah. It's done. It's done. Yeah.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, the question is the approval of 1.0 full-time equivalent second grade teacher for Kaneland McDowell Elementary. And the roll call, please.
We got
Motion.
Sorry,
Motion by.
So moved.
Second.
and a roll call.
All right, just bear with me one moment here. Thank you. Mr. Stahlcup,
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky,
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. This additional 1.0 FTE for second grade teacher at Kaneland McDowell is approved. Next on the new business, approval of the athletic code of conduct. Dr. Atkins?
Yep.
Again?
Mhm.
Okay.
This is to follow up from our presentation at the last board meeting. The board has asked us, at the beginning of the summer, end of the spring, to look at and revise the athletic code of conduct. As I shared at the last board meeting, the last update I could find was from 2013, so it was something that we well needed to do. And we have talked internally about looking at all such things to make sure that we're revising them on a regular basis. Just, I know that was a sidebar at the last meeting. Wanted to thank the coaches and administrators that have met with us, given input. I've had many hallway conversations and official meetings, work sessions with Mr. Rollman to put together this athletic code of conduct that hopefully serves to clarify expectations for all of our participants in extracurriculars. A reminder to the board as we go through this is focusing on one prong of our extracurricular program, which is the athletics for right now. There are two other prongs. That would be the activities prong and then the co-curricular prong, but we're gonna use this time frame, or this year, to look at those and have those updates come back with the student handbook. So extracurriculars is everything, and then within that, we're really looking at those athletics right now. In the board presentation, in the board notes, is a hard copy of the code of conduct itself, but what I wanted to do here was kind of go through what's different, to just highlight what those differences are. So the first thing would be those legal and policy updates. the prior code of conduct didn't reference those things, didn't tell people where those links were, where I could find information on IHSA policies or any of those kinds of things. So we've updated all of those. On the digital version, that'll be on our website. Everything will be hyperlinked as well, with the exception of one thing, which I think Mr. Rollman can maybe speak to, which is the banned substances list, because the IHSA's updates that on a regular basis, and currently it's unavailable. Is it still unavailable to us?
So the sports medicine, or SMAC as they're called, approved the new and updated, they're literally called SMAC. They approved that list last spring, but it is still, if you go to the IHSA website, that page is still blank, and they have not posted it, and they have not sent it out to the schools yet this year.
So as soon as they do, we'll update that hyperlink as well, so it'll be available to parents. But as we talked about at the last board meeting, that's a trickier one because of all of the over-counter supplements and things people can get to. I think they're trying to hit a very difficult moving target with that. But once it's there, we will link it. So all of those policies, all of those laws, all of those rules have been updated. Then the next piece is clarifying procedures. So the first thing we talked about was academic eligibility, because there is a passing class, which we will often call GPA, that kids need to do, but it's actually not necessarily their GPA. It's how many classes are you passing? And so you have to have 2.5 credits. So if you're taking 5 classes, that means passing 2.5 classes. If you're taking 6 classes, that you could have more opportunities to get your credits and still have maybe more opportunities to not be getting your credits. And so we look at the credits each week, but then within the credit, how do you get the credit? By having the GPA to pass the class. So there's a little bit of a clarification there about how that works. We also put in a mechanism for a student to come directly to the athletic director. There we go. Gosh darn it. The athletic director by a certain time frame, I believe Monday afternoon, to clarify what their grade report showed. So if it was a simple matter of taking an assessment on Friday afternoon when the weekly report is done Thursday morning, and they've already made provisions to rectify their grades and that kind of thing, they have a window of time to clarify that with the athletic director to be able to be eligible. But if they don't meet that, then they're out until the next eligibility report the following week. So just an opportunity for students to rectify their academics. Anything on the academic eligibility?
I would say there's 2 more components to that I see regularly. We first of all communicate with not only the coaches but with the students and their parents when that report comes out. And we invite those students to come in and talk to me, because oftentimes there might be a clerical error or something, and we don't want a student to miss an opportunity because there's some kind of clerical error, or a grade hasn't been updated for the last week. And we want to make sure that those things are correct. So.
The next thing was about administrative investigation for violations of the code of conduct. So we wanted to make sure we spelled out for all of our athletes what we do and how we do it, what process we'd use, the kinds of things we'd look at, and then also what we would do during that time with student participation. So for example, if there was a concern that there might have been some sort of issue concerning a weapon, we may not want to have the student participate during that time while we're investigating something like that. So we have the option to preclude students from participating in those things pending an investigation. That may not happen very often, if at all, but the ability to do so is there now in the policy, and it's clear to then parents and students that this may be an outcome of a concern that's raised due to a violation of the code of conduct. Another piece of that is parent notification. We want to make sure that we're having an in-person meeting and then following up after that in-person meeting in writing with parents so that they know, hey, this was the concern, this was what we found, this is what the consequence is, this is when it starts, when it stops, all of those kinds of things. It's a little different than the suspension notifications that happen during the school day because it is an extracurricular. But we want to mirror that and make sure that a parent has something in writing from the administration about what is and is not going on with discipline with their student. The consequences themselves we've updated. The prior code of conduct had a 3-step process. This is now 4 steps. We had a lot of conversation, both here at the board and with the coaches, about the initial percentage for a consequence. The coaches felt very strongly about a 50% suspension from athletic events or games, but also recognized the need to have more than 22%. They wholeheartedly understand the importance of sharing with our student athletes up front. There's a high expectation for this extracurricular. You're representing the school, yourself, your families, the team, everything. And as such, here's all the P's and Q's. You must mind them, or there will be this consequence. After that warning, it jumps to that 75%. Third time, suspension for a calendar year. Fourth time, suspension for the remainder of the high school career. One of the things embedded into that are some what-ifs that we've encountered about a number of games, but not having enough games in that season left. So what we've done is we said we would prorate whatever is left, and it would roll to the next athletic season. So if I'm only ever a football player and I get a 4-game suspension and there's only 2 games left in the year, then the following season I'm out for those 2 games. But if I try out for basketball right away, then I'm out also. Within that, we've discovered a little bit of how students might massage the system a little bit. And so what we've had some instances of is students try out for a team or participate for the sole purpose of serving the rest of their consequence and then quitting the team. And so we have language in there that may result in then the abeyance of whatever they served on the team that they just quit, and that it will then apply again. So if a child comes onto the team, stays on the team, does that's the purpose of it, right? We don't want to delay consequence at all. However, we also want to close loopholes. And then we went, in another slide, we'll show you, we identified the actual contests per IHSA, so that way, again, people aren't going, well, I think it's 40% is this many games or that many games. It's black and white in a chart. So whatever sport you're playing in, I can go right to it and I can see how many contests that is. So, we did talk about with the board a leniency component for self-reporting or completion of a diversion program. So that would result, for the first step only, a reduction to 20% instead of 40% for self-reporting or participation in a diversion program. And we also put out some parameters for what that diversion program participation would require. Notification to the athletic director, completion of, all of those kinds of things, right? So we don't want someone to go into a 4-meeting diversion program, attend for 1 meeting, and then come back. The other thing too is that if someone were to say, oh, I'm going to do this diversion program, it's over the length of a month, I'm going to be at, every week I'm going to go, it's 4 meetings, and then they don't go, that other 20% comes back into play, right? Yeah.
And this is for any infractions. It doesn't have to be
For the
the
majors.
same.
Yeah, we're not talking
infraction
about,
repeat.
I didn't bring the right cleats to my game.
Right.
Or I was 5 minutes late to practice. We're not talking about those things. These are the major infractions,
And-
which we also identify what those could be.
But they don't have to be the same infraction at each step. It could be different infractions.
Correct. So it's not like, oh, we told you not to fight,
Yes.
now we told you not to drink, and it's step 1. This is everything and anything.
Right. And-
The other thing that we clarified in here is the cross-pollination between the school and the extracurricular. So please know, out of the gate, if you are suspended from school, you will be looking at that first step in the athletic code as well, right? And then vice versa. If you get into a fight on the sidelines on a Friday night in front of 1,000 people in our community, you might very well be also getting suspended from school, right? So just know, students need to know that there's that cross-pollination. So we clarify that. I think sometimes we've encountered but this only happened here, why is this also impacting school? But there might be times where it impacts the extracurricular code of conduct, but not the school, because the scope of that extracurricular code of conduct is a little bit larger than the school-based scope, if that makes any sense. We also put in language that allows the administration to kind of jump steps if needed. And so there's a lot of language of, remember with contracts, will, shall are indefinites, mays are contextual. So if someone has a major infraction, but it's really bad, they stab somebody or something, we might jump right to step 4. So there will be those opportunities if needed. In the rare outrageous circumstance that may come up, we hope not, but heaven forbid, we have the ability to know. It's not must do step 1, must before you do step 2, must do step 2 before you do step 3. We can jump around.
What at any time, does any of those need to come back to the board, or it's all coaches, AD, and administration?
Yeah, these aren't things that would be appealable or anything like that, because it's extra. We do school here. We happen to also do athletics. So as an extracurricular, this is the code of conduct. If you find it too limiting to you, you don't have to play. And I know that's tough. That's opposite of what we as coaches feel. We want to bring everybody in, have everybody participate, that kind of thing. But at the same time, we're not a sports organization that does school. We're a school organization that does sports. So, athletes will be prohibited from using sports season to circumvent the consequences. That's what we talked about. We talked about the carryover. We also have our chart that we talked about, which I apologize for being so small, but this clearly identifies how many IHSA approved contests there are per year, so that we can be clear with everybody involved what's at stake if they get a 40% or a 75%. One of the other little procedural questions that came up is, sometimes 40% of something is a decimal. The coaches ask that we round down and just make it a game. It's easier to effectuate a game suspension versus, well, it's halfway through second quarter, I guess you can go in now. So instead of dealing with those fractional components, we're just going to round down to the nearest whole number. So another question. David, did I leave anything out?
I did when talking about eligibility. We have, past practice has been that we run that report on Friday morning. We've had discussions about possibly running it now on Thursdays, but in any case, we want to make sure that kids have the opportunity to make corrections academically, or we need to correct anything that may be a correction on the instructor's part as well, because we want them to be included. We're not out to exclude them. We're trying to get them to do what's right, get their homework done, get their work done, etc. That is different than the student that literally doesn't do any of the work. This is mostly, or what we've experienced is when the students are working and they don't do well on an exam or an assessment of some nature, that is much different than, I haven't done anything for 2 weeks and I'm not passing that class now because I literally haven't done anything for 2 weeks. And can I do it all of a sudden in the next 24 hours? Can I expect that instructor to grade all of that in 24 hours? We're not asking the instructors to do that. That is one clarification I wanted to make. I would also say that as we heard from the school board, we also heard from the coaches that when a student does violate the code of conduct and a suspension is applied in that case, that they are allowed to continue to be a part of that team, that group, etc. They simply cannot play in the contests. They can still go to practice, they can go to the team bonding events, the meetings, etc. We're not trying to exclude them completely from that activity. We know that for many students, that is the piece that brings them to school, so we don't want to, especially when we're talking about 14 contests or something like that. That's a long time for a student if they weren't to have that contact with their groups or teams.
Correct.
So.
As we talked about at the last board meeting, the next steps would be with board approval tonight to share this with families at Nights Under the Lights and then at those successive team meetings in the fall, and then repeat that for each season. Make sure that parents know. Moving forward, this would be part of our annual review with the student handbook, and also part of any changes would come with that student handbook presentation in the spring.
Forgive me if I missed this, but are we asking athletes to sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had talked about that at the last board meeting to make sure that we have actively communicated all of this to both students and parents. Yep.
So how does this work on social media? If an activity happened, kids were doing things, they posted it, obviously it's a violation, it's a major offense. Coaches don't know about it. What's the line there? Like,
So our board policy has language on social media and what constitutes a significant disruption to the school day or the school environment. So, for example, a student posting, "I really hate Dr. Adkins, he's the worst math teacher ever," that's their First Amendment right. "I hate Dr. Adkins, he's the worst math teacher ever. Let's all walk out of 7th hour." Now we're talking about a disruption to the school day. So there are some subtleties of context that make social media a major versus our students' First Amendment right.
Okay.
Bullying, harassing language, "Hey, let's all not pass the ball to David because he's the worst free throw shooter there is." I'm not a basketball guy. Jump shot, whatever. That would be a disruptive component, right? And so it's going to depend on the context and the nexus, the legal term for connection, the nexus to the school and the school activity.
so as far as not saying more of freedom of speech, more of if the activity, what they're doing, vaping, drugs, drinking, whatever, like, that's a difference between the freedom of speech. That's an activity unbecoming of a student.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we brought to our attention, we would investigate.
So that goes to
Yeah.
investigation. Okay.
And it could come to us through a variety of ways.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Aaron, to your point, though, a really good change that we're making is that we would, when that came to our attention, we would automatically start that investigation. We still will do that, but we're gonna first have a conversation with that student athlete and their parents, guardians, and probably the head coach or the coach that's involved at the same time.
Okay.
So that we start that investigation all on the same page, and it's not a waiting game for the student athlete or the parents or both.
And then during
We're
that
gonna
time, the
start with them.
investigation, they do get to play until you come down with strike one, strike
We
two.
put in that language of may,
May.
because again,
Okay.
if we find out that there's an egregious safety issue or safety concern, we're going to not allow that student to not participate until we figure out whether that safety concern is accurate or not.
Okay.
If it's not a safety thing, though, probably not. So, there can be bad mistakes that we have to address made by a student athlete, but may not need us to preclude them from participating while we do that. Contests, probably not while we're actively investigating something, but the practices and the workouts and the video and all that kind of stuff, that could be okay. So I don't have a yes/no answer for you. I have a may, because it depends on the context, answer for you. So we're never gonna put students in a situation where there could be that harm or damage done. Because if we know about something and then it's acted upon later because we didn't preclude, that's a problem for everybody. We haven't done our job to keep your kids safe. So it's going to depend on the context. Okay.
Any other questions? Discussion? All right, the question before the board is the approval of the extracurricular code of conduct as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Mankowski,
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley,
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. The extracurricular code of conduct is approved. Next before the board is the approval of policies from press issue number 1222, first reading.
So this is our regular press updates. There are no real decisions for the board to make. All updates based on the update cycle. So I would entertain any questions regarding this.
Questions, discussion? All right, motion
Move.
to approve?
To approve.
Second.
All right, and a roll call, please.
Okay, and just, I did miss Mr. Stahlcup on the last one, so I apologize. He did give me an I, just so that's on the record. So I'm going to go through this. For this one, Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley,
Aye.
Dr. Lawler,
Aye.
Mr. Stahlcup,
Aye.
Mr. Mankowski.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. The policies from press are approved on first reading. Next is
Construction update.
construction update. And that would be,
That'd be me. All right, so just a regular construction update. It's a little bit out of cycle, but with the school beginning upon us, I wanted to get this to everybody. So what we accomplished this summer, we renovated 32 classrooms, 12 restrooms, a partial or complete renovation of 3 corridors at Kaneland High School, updates at 4 elementary playgrounds, new carpeting at McDowell and Blackberry Creek, repaving of Blackberry Creek Elementary parking lot, and air conditioning installed in the gyms at McDowell and Blackberry Creek that will be operational in the coming weeks. So they're working on that right now. A couple of things just to share, some progress. The restrooms in the A, B, and C wing are pretty much done. We're wrapping up a couple of things in the B and C wing related to some back-ordered toilet paper dispensers, so we're dealing with that. But you can see the renovation is significant, much more, a much better experience for our students and staff. Just another picture of a restroom. I know it seems silly, but quite honestly, they were pretty bad, so it was one of the things I was actually really excited about. The restrooms in the near the front foyer are not done, so we are working through those. We ran into some unexpected foundation issues that we've resolved that set us back. We are fine to operate without them. They are, as you can see here, temporarily walled off for student safety. We'll continue to work on them throughout the day, working with our construction partners to limit noise. They actually cut a hole in the athletic department office wall to use as a door, so big thank you to Mr. Rollman for opening up his wall for our construction partners. Moving on, the A-wing classrooms are completely done, ready to go. New lights, new floors, new ceilings, new paint, new furniture, all moved in. Teachers arrived today, and we had pretty positive reviews. The art classroom is updated, and in there, the flooring is a sealed concrete due to the nature of what they're doing. And Mr. Payton's team actually refinished the art tables for our teachers, so they have nice, shiny art tables ready to go. We'll talk about something that they're still working on in a minute. This is just a view down the A-wing hallway. You can see how dramatically different this is. And I think one of the interesting effects that we have right now is we are about halfway done, right? So you walk, that picture is taken from an old section of the building. So if you are walking towards the camera there, you go from 2026 to 1965 really fast. And then, obviously next year we will complete that work. So we're really excited about the way that looks, and it's just kind of an appetizer for our students and staff. B-wing classrooms, these are some actually the oldest rooms in the district, and complete renovation. You walking in there, you wouldn't know that these were built in 1958. A lot of rave reviews on the new projectors too, because they're short throw. So when you walk as a teacher, you don't walk through that projector lane and get blinded. The B-wing corridor, this used to be a lot darker and seemingly more narrow. But you can see in there, updated with drywall. We're now up to code. Previously, the doors swung out into the hallway, which is no longer allowed by code, so now they've all been recessed into alcoves. C-wing classrooms, same thing. We have the C-wing classrooms that face north have been completed. The ones on the south side of the building, or south side of that hallway, are going to be completed next year. So there's another experience where you're walking and one side's done and one side's not, and that's just the way it is. But they also, this was these were some of the rooms that had the biggest swings in temperature. The windows were original to the building. So we have been updated with double pane, and so we're looking forward to how they weather the hot and the cold. So it's good to see that. Finally getting around to stuff. That's Seawind Classroom again. You can kind of see the transformation there. Additionally, one of the projects this year was a secure entrance with Fox Valley Career Center. So if you enter the rear of the building, traditionally where our Fox Valley Career Center students enter, it used to be a straight shot into the high school. This is now a locked door, so students can go through there in the morning as they arrive. When Fox Valley either arrives or dismisses through their multiple sessions, those doors remain locked. We will have to man those doors to allow our students back in during those transition times. And for 1 year, our graphics department will still be in that footprint. We're working with high school administration to manage that though. So we're excited about that as additional security for our school. Grading continues on the field house as we work through final stormwater planning. And then just as a reminder to our families, the traffic layout has changed for this year. So students will enter and exit through Meredith and parking in that northeast lot. Buses will use the area right outside of door 8 as their drop-off and pickup instead of the front of the building. And then parents will pick up in the front of the building and work their way around. And we're gonna ask parents to not arrive. If you're picking up a student, don't arrive until like 3 o'clock just to let us kind of clear the lot. We will be reconfiguring all these following completion of our construction. And then what's still in progress, this is a huge undertaking, and when you work on a building this old, you do run into things you just did not expect, right? So the previous mentioned restrooms at Kaneland High School, they are walled off. We expect them to be operational within the next month, ideally. Some of the corridors in Kaneland High School are going to be sealed concrete for the 26-27 school year. These are areas where we did partial renovations. As a result, we didn't want to put down new flooring for the construction company to come in next year and tear it all up, right? So in a move to be financially conscious, we will be sealing those this coming weekend. So it will have somewhat of a finished appearance, but it is not the final product. Air conditioning for the gyms at, I should say KME, sorry, and KBK will be operational in the coming weeks. I believe they were working on Blackberry Creek today. So we had to cut a hole in the ceiling, the roof. We had to drop these big old pieces in. If you saw on social media, we had the big crane out there, and I'm glad we didn't do that during school because every kid would have been wildly distracted. And then we do have small specific areas in classrooms and public areas that we're finalizing. None of them are public safety issues. The art room, we're waiting on a sink and some cabinetry, and so we're working with them to adjust. But we will be finalizing everything and moving on that. And then what's next? We will have those bathrooms operational, the air conditioning. We do have a punch list. We'll walk the building, make sure everything's right. There are little things, they painted it and it got dinged when they moved the furniture in or things like that. So we will be going through, punch listing everything. We'll continue to work on the field house, the maintenance building, and transportation center throughout the school year. And then over winter break, we will be painting most of the lockers at Kaneland High School, moving from the blue to, I believe it's a dark charcoal. I don't think it's a pure black.
It's black.
Jackie says it's pure black. We disagree on that. But it'll be a black, and so we're leaning into the school colors on the way that those appear. And then, of course, we'll get geared up for round 2 in the spring of 2027. Couple quick things. There have been some questions about whether or not we're starting on Wednesday, and we are starting on Wednesday. It will not be e-learning. We will be operational, and we expect all of our students to attend. Additionally, tours for new students and freshmen will be, if students want to come by tomorrow afternoon. Alina has helped organize that. Yeah. So what time is it, Alina?
5:30 to 7:30, I believe.
Okay, and so we will provide student tours then, and I believe Wednesday evening also.
Yeah, tomorrow is 5 to 7, and then Wednesday evening is 5:30 to 6:30.
So those students that may need a little help we'll be providing that. And we are excited to bring our students back. Any questions?
Quick one about McDowell. Is the playground done?
I have to check. I believe they're working on it today. Do we know?
I don't know if it was finished today or if that's
Okay.
getting done tomorrow.
Parts of it are operational.
Okay, only because I asked because I think it's missing some stuff. I could be wrong. But
Yeah.
They were
actually,
waiting on
I
some
think
parts.
that
We're
My daughter thinks there's missing stuff.
We will check. Have your daughter give me a call, and we'll talk to her.
My son also had a question about the basketball hoops at John Stewart.
Okay.
Were those being replaced at some point?
That wasn't part of this plan. It's something that we could certainly look at with the building or with capital funds.
He's in fifth grader, so he's not gonna care next week.
Okay.
He's like, I love this. He's like, but I thought the basketball hoops that were gonna be changed out, because they're like the double, triple rim.
Oh.
Where if you don't swish perfectly.
Yeah.
you would-
Tell them to improve the shot.
That's what I told him. He said, get better. All right, I'll report back.
All right. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
All right, there's no action necessary for the construction update. It is now time for superintendent board reports. Dr. Rowland, do you have anything to share?
Just real quick, like I mentioned earlier, today was our first day with staff. We welcomed all of our staff back, had a nice breakfast and a kickoff meeting, a very positive vibe from the staff. Wednesday, students come back, very excited for that. I'm excited to see the look on our students' faces as they see some of the improvements. At the high school, athletics are all underway, and the marching band was out the last couple of weeks, getting geared up for their season. That's about all we got.
Dr. Bogan?
Nothing this evening.
All right. Ms. Alina?
Yeah. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying their evening. I hope everyone is just as excited to return to school this Wednesday as I am. Last Thursday, freshmen went through freshman orientation, where they went over expectations for this upcoming school year. Key Club and Student Council were also promoting their clubs for students to get involved as early as possible. Due to construction at the high school, freshmen missed their orientation tours. Makeup tours are available tomorrow and Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. and 5:30 to 6:30. Other students and I will be there to help. The Kaneland girls golf team held their first day of tryouts today at Hughes Creek Golf Course and will return tomorrow at 1 p.m. to finalize rosters. The Kaneland boys varsity golf team will have their first invitational meet versus Belvedere North High School at Timber Point Golf Course on August 17th at 9 a.m. This Friday, the high school will host Nights Under the Lights. Festivities will start at 5 p.m., food trucks open at 5:30, and then the band performs at 6:30. Fall sports scrimmages will take place throughout the evening, and seniors will celebrate senior year by wearing their senior painted jeans that day. On August 20th, the varsity girls tennis team will travel to Yorkville for a 4 p.m. match. On August 21st, the varsity football team will face Rock Island High School for the first home game of the season. That game starts at 7 p.m. On Monday, August 24th, the varsity soccer boys team will travel to Cary Grove Community High School to play at 4:30 p.m. That same evening, the girls volleyball team will travel to Genoa Kingston to play at 6 p.m. As we begin the school year, I'm looking forward to seeing all our new and returning students get involved, support one another, and make the most of the opportunities available at Kaneland. There's so many events, games, and activities happening in the first few weeks, so I encourage everyone to get involved and support our nights. I'm excited to represent our students throughout the school year and continue sharing student perspectives and updates with the board. I hope everyone has a great first day of school, and I look forward to a successful school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members? I would just remind the community nights under the lights this Friday night at 5. And then a number of our athletic teams will be having games, some home, before our next board meeting. I know the football team, varsity football will. I believe volleyball is at home too.
I think their first game is at
Their first game.
At Genoa Kingston.
Yes.
But I think they're before our next board meeting.
Probably.
Yeah, so check the calendar and please come out and support Kaneland Athletics and our athletes. Any other comments from board members? All right. Are there any topics for
Future agenda, yeah. Sorry.
future agenda that the board would like to discuss?
I don't know.
Do we have anything outstanding still?
I am gonna follow up on, a list of when things have been updated
Oh, that's a good one.
and, follow up on some screen times and things.
Oh, that's right, okay.
And maybe an update as to talented and gifted,
Oh, yeah,
or in terms of where we are in the process, as well as maybe an update from Ms. McCallis on the state of special ed at Kaneland with, you know,
I remember one. We had, I mentioned the bullying question.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about doing something.
Yeah, we will
about
bring
that.
those, the deans and the social workers in, we'll work at that into September likely.
Okay.
Anyone else for topics for future agendas? All right, it is now time for the second round of public comments. Ms. Levy.
Hi, my name is Maggie Levy from Elburn. I have 2 high school students. I guess I should have talked at the first one because it's concerning the student athlete code of conduct. I wonder why athletes weren't asked to be involved in this code of conduct, that it was just the parents and the coaches. So that doesn't make much sense. And why are the coaches going to be held to the same standards as the athletes? Is there a code of conduct for coaches? Okay, this is how you're doing it. Okay. Okay. I also question if the coach is solely allowed to punish the athlete, if it should not be put in front of a panel of people and exclude that coach because they most likely have an implicit bias towards a certain player. So if you could have a panel of 3 to 4 coaches, other coaches from a different sport, to see if these punishments are, if they're false or not. And then I question, when a student signs this new code of conduct, are they also have to sign a coach-made code of conduct that's handed out at the beginning of their season? There are coaches that have their own code of conduct that aren't in agreements with this code of conduct. So, putting that all out there to the community, and I believe we all know who we're talking about.
All right. The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed,
Closed session for 5 minutes.
closed session to cover Illinois 5 ILCS Section 120/2 sub C sub 11, and no action will be taken at the end of the closed session. So the taping will conclude at the end of this meeting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting at
8:19.
8:19.
So moved.
PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The meeting is adjourned.